So the first item is process for tardy students arriving after 9 a.m. I know it has been mentioned already, but at the last meeting, this was brought up. Ms. Fernandez articulated concerns very eloquently about that and asked to have this placed on the next agenda, and that is why it is here. I don't know if Ms. Fernandez, you want to begin as you place this item on the agenda, or if you would like Ms. Ramsey to begin.
I mean, I think I made it perfectly clear when I heard somebody state that the doors are closed or locked at 9 a.m. that that was not something I was in agreement with and wanted to have further discussion about. I don't think we should be locking any of our kids out of the schools, and I know that Ms. Lindsay was going to explain a little bit more about what that was about.
I will, of course. First, Mrs. Fernandez and everyone, parents, that is not a practice that we condone or support, okay? Through Safe and Orderly Schools, it came up as a late practice that was utilized at one point. We were very clear in our direction to the schools that that is not something that should continue. In a little investigation, I did realize that in some instances, when a parent wasn't able to be contacted, the student was indeed not allowed in. That has since stopped because it is not what the Pawtucket School Department stands for. It is not what we want. We want our kids in school. We want to make those communications with the parents and find out the reasons, the why behind the reason the child is late. We do have a late issue. We have made through Safe and Orderly, I told you we made a couple of changes about encouraging students to come on time. Tardies have gone down, but again, the communication out to families is the primary responsibility and the primary goal, and to get to the why behind it. So it's not as incredibly widespread as the feeling was, and we're certainly not slamming the doors in the students' faces, but that practice is not something that we will continue, not something that should be going on, and we will absolutely work through Safe and Orderly to ensure that we have a better, more inclusive practice for students who are late, so we can make sure that we get to the why, because everybody deserves to come to school, and there's a million reasons why students are late at any given time, and it is our school's responsibility to get to that reason and support our students so they can access their education.
Thank you. Ms. Grant and Ms. Ganolo.
So, I myself did some research, and I'm embarrassed as a school district that this ever came up at all. It should have never come up. We have a policy, JH, and it states, students are expected to arrive on time. All students who are late for school must report to the main office and properly fill out the late slip. At the elementary level, the office will fill out the late slip on their behalf. Students who are late and have a written excuse from a parent and a guardian stating the date and reason for tardiness will be excused. All other tardies will be unexcused. So it states right here, if a student is late, the student will just be marked as unexcused. So whether it's safe and orderly or not safe and orderly, this is not the policy of our district.
You're correct.
And this should have always been followed. And if there was a big change like that, it should have gone to the policy committee or should have been brought to someone's attention. But we should never, never not allow a student to come to school. And it states right here that this committee does not back that. And whoever took that upon themselves to, whether it was a mistake or not a mistake, it should have never been a mistake. It should have never crossed anyone's mind. Unfortunately, I think our district really needs to, people need to start reading the policies and really need to start getting familiar in the positions that they're in. Unfortunately, our schools do lock. When our students come to the building and they have to ring a bell, everyone has to ring a bell to get in. So someone at some point wasn't allowing those students to get in. And that's disgraceful. We all know we're in an urban district and that a lot of these students in our district would rather be at school than at their own homes at time. And for us to turn them away under any reason is completely unacceptable. So I would definitely recommend that everyone in the district read up on all the policies for no matter what position you're in or no matter what the situation is, everyone is aware of what needs to take place in every position, because our students are the most important things. We're in the business of customer service, and the people we are trying to provide the best customer service for is our students and their families. And we failed at this. If we didn't at one time let one student in and turn them away, we failed as a district. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Ms. Manolo.
So my comment is simple, I know this procedure went on in Tolman. I don't know if it went on in any of the other schools. How are you going to communicate to the students that if you oversleep, we understand you still have to come to school?
That'll be something that is worked on all summer in terms of messaging to undo anything that was done. It came up, we learned about it as a practice through the Safe and Orderly Committee. It was immediately told that is not a practice that's going to continue. That wasn't as clear to all people, so it is crystal clear now. Over the summer, we'll work on messaging and a procedure that all schools can follow.
But also getting the information to the students, because if they're used to the policy of, okay, it's 9:05,
I'm not
I'm going
coming,
back to sleep.
right,
So why bother going to
coming
school?
to
So
school
they
late.
know that they can come in late.
Mrs. Fernandez, it looks like you have a question even though you're not raising your hand.
Which is quite different, Ms. Manolo, than what you kind of said for a long time here on this committee, because you felt very strongly that kids who are tardy needed to be consequenced.
So I don't think we need to have attacks on members, but just,
Oh,
so
I'm not attacking.
if we have a question to,
So why is this different?
So I was
It's not an
thinking,
attack.
just so I'll explain how I became aware of this situation. Okay, so I know when I went to school, we used to have, letters from the parents and stuff like that. So, I don't have a child in the school right now, but I do pick up my granddaughter. And I pick up one of her friends as well, and I'll give him a ride. And I said, "Where is he?" And she said, "He overslept, so he's not in school." So I said, "Well, why can't he go to school when he wakes up?" And she said, "Because at 9 o'clock, they close the door and we can't go in. So the student doesn't go in." So that's, that's why it came up, is because it was brought up to me by a high school student as to why they weren't in school.
and I thank you for bringing to the attention of Ms. Hernandez for ensuring that we have us on the agenda and Ms. Royal, would you like to add to that?
I just wanted to add that, first of all, it was disheartening when I heard that this was a practice. I do not, by no means, support any, like Ms. Grant said, any child being turned away from school under no circumstance. School is a safe haven for a lot of our students. Education is imperatively important. And we have to open our doors, I don't care what time they come. We need to have open arms to welcome our students into the building. The fact that it's just we have to do what's right for kids, period. And if that was a practice, shame on whoever thought that was right. It's just, I can't even fathom a child coming to the door and one of my employees turn them away from getting educated. Like, I feel it's sickening. And do not support it at all. Definitely would never, ever happen again. And I just felt like I just had to say that because it is not supported, like Ms. Ramsey said. It is definitely will not happen again. But going back to the root cause of what's going on currently, all this is about relationship building. If we do have kids that are coming to school late, we have to pick up on the call and see what's going on. Helping families understand or helping them to get their child to school. And we have to continue to build relationships with our families, build relationships among ourselves as well, because our kids are constantly watching. More kids watch this committee meeting than I thought. When I started going into schools, talking to kids in the high schools, they watch and they're listening. So we have to do a better job communicating with each other as well and letting them know we want you in school. I don't care what time you come. Come to school. We need you in school. So I just wanted to just say that.